Hi guys!
Hello.
Welcome back to the Big Sister, the Living Room podcast.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. I am Ruth.
And I'm Regina.
And we are going to be talking about what it means to be a woman today. And, still all things beauty as well.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed our last podcast. I can't believe we finally started after all that.
For so long. Yeah.
I know. So
surreal.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation last time.
Yeah,
so
it was really great.
Yeah.
I think just what we discussed, and I guess like hearing your heart of Big Sister,
Yeah.
and how like God really aligned our hearts for this particular thing.
Yeah.
And just like bringing us together. We talked about how we even met up again in Singapore. After so long, and excited for episode 2.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't watched the first one, go back and watch our first episode.
Go check it out. Yeah.
But I just wanted to start off, I think in our podcast now, let's start off always by sharing a beauty secret. Because here at Big Sister, we do not gatekeep. So we're going to be sharing our beauty secret. So did you want to go first? Did you have a beauty secret?
I do. Okay. We kind of pre-talked about this just so I like roughly know what you were going to say. I don't even know what you're going to say. Oh, no, I do know. Sorry. But I think mine is not really a product, but it's actually more like a healthy habit that we need to get into for like healthy from within out, beauty from within and out.
Yeah.
It was just sleep. I think for myself, especially this whole mindset of like, hustle hard or whatnot. It's just like, no, like sleep is for the weak. No, but actually it is good for you. And I think getting enough sleep and having that, I think I read like for women, you actually need at least 7 to 8 hours more than men. Isn't that insane?
I heard about that.
Right?
You know what though? I have just been truly believing and really into the whole like understanding like your menstrual cycle. And it's true, like when you're on your period you should sleep a lot more, and I realize like I've been like so tired when I'm on my period that I actually do have to sleep more, like 10 hours.
Yeah. You need to
it really helps.
Recover. Yeah, because your body just like loses so much blood.
Exactly. Your body's literally recovering and repairing itself. So like you actually have to like watch like what your cycle is, like your actual menstrual cycle, and then like act accordingly and eat accordingly.
Yes. Yeah. So sleep is definitely so important. I think back then, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I will like just do 6 hours sleep and I will like push through it. But now I'm like, you know what? You feel so much of a difference when it's between a 6 hour and 8 hour comparison. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I had 6 hours last night.
Oh dear. You feeling it? I feel like
I'm feeling it.
Me too. Gina had a rough night, but we're here pushing through.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good one, and I need to take your advice because
I need to take my own advice.
Literally.
We have our moments. That's okay.
Yeah.
What's yours? What is your beauty secret?
My recent beauty secret, girls, I'm putting you on game, okay? And it is doing Manuka honey and green tea face mask.
Ooh.
So basically what I do is I boil my green tea, I drink the green tea.
Oh, love that.
Antioxidant, it's really good. And then I take the green tea bag, I cut it open, and I take all the leaves out. And then I mix it with some Manuka honey.
Yeah.
And then this is after I shower though, or like after I wash my face. And then I put it all over my face and I leave it on for as long as I can leave it on for. Yeah. As long as I can endure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's because it's not comfortable, and like sometimes when it starts to dry, the leaves start dropping, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too messy. Yeah. So about like 10 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's really good because, I mean, little secret. I mean, I work with a lot of skincare brands, but I honestly feel skincare can become like a bit of a fad and a trend. Where if you put too much skincare, your skin's gonna be worse. And you need to like rebalance the like pH of your face and everything. And I think Manuka honey really works to help to like protect your skin barrier.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the tip.
I know in details. I'm like, skin barrier, pH. It's true though. Yeah. And then I realized, because I do have pretty bad acne here, like it actually helps like inflammation and like, because honey is antimicrobial. Yeah.
I know it's good for you. I just
it means like the germs can't survive on it.
Oh,
so it basically is like giving your skin a good like base.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So basically after I put the mask, then I wash my face off and I just leave it like that. Yeah.
I love that.
And put like moisturizer or something.
I think the most I know about Manuka honey is whenever I have a sore throat, my mom would like put like warm water with manuka honey and like stir it in and like drink it and like just soothe the throat.
Yeah, it's really good for you. Nice. It has like, no, I'm not gonna go in details.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go in chemical details. Yeah, I've been doing that, and I think it's really been helpful. So, beauty secret, not gatekeeping.
Not gatekeeping. Try it out. Let us know. Yeah. About, especially that one. The one about manuka honey and the green tea leaves.
Yeah, and couple that with sleep, girl.
Yeah, it's gonna wake up with a glowing face.
Comes to life. Yeah. So today we're gonna be talking about what is a woman, and like what kind of woman are you? Yeah. So I feel like what is a woman, that gets very confused, and it's a very touchy topic in this society right now. I've been seeing a lot of Instagram videos where they go around doing street interviews. What's a woman? And like people either can't answer it, or they give answers that you can really like. It's like iffy, you know. So I don't know, Regina, would you start us off?
Yeah.
Like when I ask you, like, what is a woman? Like, what comes to your mind?
I think sometimes it could be like more like the biological sense of a woman, you know, like when you are in your mother's womb and then like they do the sonography or do the ultrasound at 20 weeks. Unless you go for like the blood test and do it early, but that's way expensive. So for us, we waited till like 20 weeks.
Okay.
And then they will reveal the gender based on what reproductive system you have. So whether it's like the vagina or the testicles. So that essentially is probably how I would define a woman.
And chromosomes.
And the chromosomes and how God created it initially, and science proves that as well. So I think, definitely nowadays it is a really gray area because someone can just become another gender. Yeah. And then vice versa. Yeah. So definitely a very interesting, hard-hitting kind of topic for the second episode. But how about yourself? What would you say?
We're going hard.
We're going hard.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes, a woman is a biological woman. And I think that God has created us both, like male and female, really uniquely different, but great in both ways. And I think, like sometimes the world can weigh like one gender to be more powerful or more amazing than the other, but I think no, we both serve our purposes and we're both so amazing. And I think, like, well, I'm a woman. Are you a woman? You are a woman.
It's always interesting, like, you know, because I initially said about biological and like the physical, right? Yeah. But then if you think about it, like, traced all the way down to DNA and even our wiring of our minds were so different.
That's true.
And the whole, like, testosterone and then, the hormones and whatnot, like, you cannot, no matter, like, how much you would even change the physical, you know, there's, like, still the DNA part, like, the deep stuff will still point to either one or the other, which is what you kind of were mentioning about how, you know, God created both men and women so different, but to like support each other. And I think it's really like important that, you know, we don't mix up like cosplaying a woman and like a style of a woman or whatnot, like I guess how we look like physically with what it actually means to be created as a woman by God. And I think, when I was younger, I was like, well, I don't understand. I do understand man and woman, but I don't understand because I am so unique and different. I don't feel like the general sense of a woman where they're like ladylike and then they're drinking the tea with the finger up. Like, you know what I mean? I don't feel like that. And like growing up, I really love sports and like, I said it the first podcast, like rough on the edges. It's true. Like, you know, I'm not like very ladylike like that. And I mean, when you're younger, you're like, oh, do you like blue or pink? I like blue. Like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like, you know what I mean? And I don't think like those superficial kind of things like attributes you to be a woman. And I think God's made, he's made two genders, but he's made each one inside the genders like really beautiful and unique. We're all different people, even though we're both women. We're such different people and we have different personalities. Very true.
And I think that's an amazing thing, and it doesn't have to be categorized as something else. But and I think Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. And we'll definitely be exploring more about that.
Yeah.
As we also go on this journey,
Yeah.
obviously exploring it.
Yeah.
We aren't claiming that we know everything and everything that we're saying is like, you know, perfect and to the T.
Yeah.
But we're also on this journey of obviously exploring all that and, you know, using the Bible because that is our foundation, like we spoke about last week, our foundation as the truth on our basis. And I think sometimes like people can get very here or there where it's like, oh, you're always talking about the Bible, but it's like, no, the Bible is the truth. And so we, even if we don't understand what the Bible's even saying now, that doesn't mean it's like false. It just means that we just don't understand. Yeah, but you know, how about we invite Holy Spirit into that journey and be like, you know what is a woman then? You help us define as you go on that journey. Yeah.
It's true. I was just thinking before how Eve, the first woman, she was like she's like a carrier of life, and so are all women, right? We're carriers of life. And I just think like that's something to take note. That's such a beautiful thing and something so important. We carry life not just physically but in us as well. Yeah.
It is a really, really cool thing. I think too, because I've been pregnant before, and it's so insane to think that, you know, Judah was in my womb for 9 months.
True.
From like nothing to then something. And I think that's so incredible that it reminds me of like, you know, the Genesis, where it's like it was nothing and then God spoke and it was something.
It's true.
And just like that, it's like you can't explain it, you can't really like, you know, do the details of, but like the action happened and then life was formed.
Wow.
And we still remember going to the 6-week ultrasound and hearing his heartbeat for the first time. Because I remember like taking the pregnancy test. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. I didn't really know how to like fathom it, but then all of it felt really surreal because it's like I still feel like me, like nothing really changed. All I saw was like, okay, it's positive on a pregnancy test. But then was going into the ultrasound and hearing that heartbeat for the first time, and it's not like, okay, someone's making this heartbeat or this sound up. It's literally in my body. And it is honestly such a privilege. And I hear, and you know, I totally understand the struggle of pregnancy where you go through stuff, your body's changing and it's stretching, you look so different, your hips are widening to prepare the way for this birth. But like despite the challenges and maybe like some complaints here and there of just uncomfortableness and like contractions and whatnot, like it really is a beautiful thing. Like it's such a privilege to be able to carry life.
I think it's a beautiful picture as well. I actually saw on Instagram recently this one of the speakers saying that when you're like giving birth, right, you're like your body goes through so much changes, and it's like you feel like, oh, like I'm really giving my body up, right? And it's like, you know, all that is all changing and you're like, it doesn't look the same as it was before. But what she was saying is like, it's actually, in a sense, you are like reflecting Christ as well, who gave his body up so that someone else could have life.
I love that. Oh my God.
And I think like, wow, I've also like never seen it in that way. That's true. It's like you're giving your body up so that your child can have life. And I think that's such an amazing thing that gets so like lost in this generation where it's very like, oh, well, this is my body, you know, I don't want to like damage it for this child, so I don't want to have this child. But no, it's like it's a privilege to give your body up and your life up for another child. That's
actually so beautiful. I've never seen or heard of that before, and I think that's so key for all the moms out there or like parents, like to always remember that as foundations, and when tough times do come, because they will, sleep regressions, like just feeding and just keeping them alive, you know, like it has a weight on you. But I think when you do remember that as like the why, and it's like the privilege of, I think it really helps you bring you through those tough times as well.
But, just like the verse is like, the greatest love is to lay your life down for someone else.
For someone else. So incredible.
How amazing.
Really, really cool.
I know, that's what, like, I'm still grappling with that, because honest truth, right, like, when God gave me that thought last week, like, after watching that video, I was like, would I, like, I feel like I'm in my prime right now, 25. Should I not reveal my age on the internet? I'm like 25. 25. And I'm like, oh, like, this is my prime athlete days.
And like, keeping my body in fitness.
gave birth now, like, oh, like, my body would change so much, and I definitely wouldn't be the athlete that I'm not saying that I am, like, I'm, like, making myself sound out to be, like, Olympic champ or something. I'm not, but you get what I mean? And I felt like that was a challenge when God put that in my mind as well. I'm like, that's an actual challenge. Like, wow, like, I understand. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'll just, like, say it, like, outright, right? Like, the whole pro-choice and pro-life, like, argument. I honestly, I see where they're coming from, the people on pro-choice, that truly it is a difficult thing to go through, right? And it's your body, and, like, you want to protect that. But at the same time, I think as Christians, when we see Christ and how he gave his life up for us, like, that is just, it's a challenge to live up to that, you know, and to reflect that. And I mean, it's, of course it's hard.
Definitely will
but
be,
I think it just definitely, it's been challenging me. That's all that I will say.
And we'll leave it as that.
Well, I wanted to ask you, are you into, like, the personality test things?
I am, but I'm not so deep into it. Like, every single like test out there, I have to, like, find out myself.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, since we're talking about, like, what is a woman? What is a woman? Like, what type of woman are you? Like, how would you describe yourself if you could describe yourself in a couple of sentences?
Oh my.
Well, like, how do you think other people would, like, describe you?
I think they would describe it well. I would like to believe, anyways, that I am genuine and approachable, and I think that's one of my, like...
I agree.
Oh, thanks, Ruth.
Genuine and approachable?
Genuine and approachable. I think, one of the ones, I would love to aim for that as well, a lot more.
Sure.
I mean, even though I had a talk with a friend, we're talking about, like, resting bitch faces. Have you, like, ever heard that comment where it's like...
that's what everyone calls me. What are you talking about? Have I ever heard?
But honestly, like, I was trying to talk to this friend where it's like, everyone with a relaxed face just generally look more serious. So there's no... okay, let's just relax. Everything's just relaxed, so of course there's no, like, emotion showing through your face. So of course it's gonna look like that.
Like, people have, like, a happy resting face. That's the thing. Like, a cute, like I'm enjoying life, like, kind of.
I think they're trying a bit too hard in that moment, because if you're like, okay, right now, like, it's like resty. Alright? But, like, if you're resty with a sparkle in your eyes, it's like this.
No, some people just have that sparkle. Like, they're just lovable like that.
I want to find someone with that, because I've never seen... Everyone has... Not saying that everyone looks, like that, but I think everyone generally has some sort of that kind of face.
Like, example, I think Venice has, like, a pretty, like, happy kind of looking resting face compared to myself.
I've never seen her resting, actually.
I've never seen her resting.
Not her face, anyways.
Okay, true. Like, I'll be on the lookout.
We need to...
Just snap a person's face. Okay, she's, like, a happy resting face.
Happy resting face. I think that'd be cool, but generally speaking, I feel like,
Do people say that you have an RBF?
I wouldn't say that they say that, but the conversation sparked where, like, this particular friend was saying, like, she had one. And I'm like, honestly, I think everyone has one. It's not even to say that, like, one person is more than the other. Because she was sharing that, because of that, a lot of people found it really hard to approach her. So hence I told her, like, I also have an RBF, but most of the time, when you're talking or interacting, your face just lights up because you have emotions laid in there. So genuine and approachable, I would say. Actually very quiet. I got that a lot when I was younger, but I think ever since I found the Lord, my identity is just, like, a loud woman and not being afraid of voicing out. It's definitely shone a lot more. And I actually yap a lot. I just realized as well that I keep talking, and I think there was this tension when I was, like, trying to find my identity, when finding the Lord. It was like, okay, I've always been labeled, like, shy, or, like, quiet.
It's really interesting.
But then now that I'm seeing, like, deep down, I actually love connecting. I love talking, but a lot of the times, like, these thoughts and voices play back in your mind, not even from yourself, but because of everything that you've picked up and heard over this course of life. So now you're like, oh, but people have said that, so I must be that. But I've realized that, what, I usually love to talk a lot. I need to learn to stop sometimes, and that's me. How about yourself? How would you describe?
How would I describe myself? I would say, honestly, I'm I don't know, because we did this activity at Galentine's this week.
Yeah.
Right? Like 3 things. Well,
yeah, 3 things that people you like about yourself. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of like a little bit distracted because I was trying to like get everyone to do it.
That was such a fun event, by the way. Nice.
Yeah, but I was thinking, one thing I do like about myself is that like I guess I'm not afraid to try things. So adventurous, is that?
Yeah.
Adventurous.
Risk taker.
Oh, I didn't even go to that extreme, but yeah, like I feel like I'm like okay, down to like let's just try it, or let's just go to a new place. Like it's okay, like let's just I don't know, it's scary. So I think I'm pretty fun. Am I fun?
Yeah, you're so fun. You do things that I would never do.
Oh, really?
I feel like we're kind of opposite, actually.
No, but I mean, like, persona, I just feel like, I just like to be like, have fun, you know?
Yeah.
But, it's actually really interesting because people who know me, like, personally, know that I'm actually not that extroverted.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, people who hang out with me, like, all the time, they realize, like, oh, like, you're not. It's because, like, I know that I do have, like, a loud personality sometimes, but I'm actually, like, I do love, like, just alone time and, like, just being by myself and solitude and, I love, exactly. I love to go skateboarding, I guess, for the reason that, like,
solitude.
Yeah, solitude and just in my own zone. Yeah. And I actually love to just, go to cafes by myself or do whatever by myself. Nice. And I'm going to Bali next week by myself and I'm just like, I'm ready for it. Yeah. So I just love to be chill, actually.
Have you ever done that personality test, like the ENFJ or the...
Yeah, I have.
I don't know what the name is, but do you know what's yours?
Yes.
Do you remember?
I can't remember all the letters.
That's okay. We hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Give this video a like if you are enjoying it, as well as subscribe so that you are, up to date with what episode's coming up next.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at BigSister_global to check out any of our events that we are having on, watch our cool videos, and just connect with us. We would love to get to know you. Anyways, keep enjoying this video. So we've got the 16 personalities.
So had to get the laptop because our friends are out of action filming this podcast. So give it a like if you're liking it so far, and subscribe so you guys stay tuned for the next few episodes coming up. Alright, so I am ENFJ, and it is actually under the protagonist. Protagonist.
The green one.
The green one under diplomats. Nice. Who would have thought?
I would have thought.
So extroverted, actually interesting enough, I always thought I was introverted just because I kind of went through a challenge of social anxiety for a long time, because I was I would always overthink conversations in my head. Even if it's youth group, praying. I know this is obviously not how you're meant to pray, but I would always think, okay, how do I pray in case if someone calls me out to pray for the group, because I just could not. I hated public speaking. That was all me. So this was actually quite interesting. So extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. So that's me. Yeah. So I think I was saying that intuitive was so instead of observant but intuitive, it's all about the mind and stuff. And
how would you describe this personality on a whole?
Ooh, okay, let's see what they actually have, because apparently they summed it up really well. So charismatic and inspiring leaders, able to mesmerize their listeners. So there's just this
a great charisma, I do think that's
something like that. They feel called to serve a greater purpose in life, thoughtful and idealistic. They strive to have a positive impact on other people and the world around them. These personalities rarely shy away from an opportunity to do the right thing, even when doing so is far from easy. So somewhat headstrong, for a good reason, or a good cause and stuff, and apparently born leaders, which explains why these personalities can be found among many notable politicians, coaches, and teachers. Which is interesting, because I never thought I'd see myself as a teacher, but then recently I was reflecting with the Lord, and He brought me back to when I would do pretend play with my sisters, and I would be the teacher of the class. Oh my gosh, same. And then they would be the students. And I'd be okay, math lesson, or English lesson.
Wow, no experience is unique.
Yeah.
I used to do the exact same thing with my sister.
Here is yours.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting though that you like that's your personality because if I think back to like I guess my first kind of impressions of like you in like Bible college because we were friends but we weren't like super close. So I just knew from like more of the outside. But like I would say that I would always find you really cheerful and like you just have like a happy like charisma and like vibe to you. But I also would say like like she would do what is right. She would never do anything that's like wrong.
Good citizen.
Yeah, like I actually would do that. And it's funny because we were in a room together in Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
And I was like, oh yeah, like she would do. I feel like you would always do things the right way. Yeah. And like, yeah. But like, you're just like, you have a great like personality. I don't know how to say it.
Thank you. We will link this down below if you guys haven't done the 16 personalities before. Apparently, it's probably one of the most accurate personalities out there. Yeah. Okay. Insane, because a friend of mine actually like, did me to a T without even realizing.
Did me to a T?
As in like, he just knew what. And then so I did the test.
Guessed it.
Yeah. And then I like I did the test and it was like literally that. I was like, how did you know? Yeah, so it was really, really cool.
Wow. I feel like you can kind of tell which vibe the person is. Like which colours. I just go for colours. I can't remember like words and things. Yeah. Mine is the purple one under analyst and it is logician. INTP. So before that, I actually was INTJ.
Oh.
Yeah, like the intense one.
Yeah.
But that was because I was, I guess, in ministry in a role that was very, like, needing of me to be super, like, on the ball of everything. Yeah, so that was, like, really, really, really thinking. But then, like, now in this past 2 years, I did it again, and I've actually changed. And be more, like, okay to, like, just, you know, like, hang back a little bit and just be a little more chill and not so intense.
I love that. I'm on the journey of learning that.
So, if I could sum this up, well, this is what it says. It says, logicians are innovative inventors with the unquenchable thirst for knowledge.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think many people, like, they wouldn't describe me, they wouldn't know that I'm, like, one of these people, but I think my super close friends, they know, like, I do think about things very deeply.
Yeah.
Not like, I wouldn't say I have, like, conversations and then think about it like you were saying before. Yeah. But, like, I will think of, like, hard topics and questions in, like, depth.
Yeah.
And,
That's so interesting. I definitely wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also wouldn't have guessed you were introverted as well. That one shocked me a lot.
That's really interesting,
But then I also feel like I'm still getting to know you as well. Like, because we obviously were that super close in Bible college. I feel like we had our own kind of like friendship group at that time. But now that, you know, we've met, reconnected over like, over 7 years. And it's like, you know, I'm getting to like know you a little bit more.
Exactly. But yeah, I definitely do like agree that I am very much an analyst and I really do think about things in a deep level.
Yeah.
Like I did show you before that I have like a whole bunch of like hard questions.
Yes.
Like 100 over.
Yes.
That is just like I just think about it deeply.
And they need to be a podcast topic,
girl.
Yeah, or like a wonderful episode.
They would never leave. They would never leave.
It's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I definitely do think very deeply about things and analyze stuff a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you feel like these would change? I mean, because one, you experienced that, like, you know, that last season. Yeah, it changed you from a J to a P. Yeah, let me grab that. Let me grab it. Yeah, from a J to a P.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think maybe overall, you wouldn't switch like categories. Yeah. I mean, who am I to say though? Like, we could, you know, change. But I think definitely what you are like working in or like the friends that you hang around definitely will change that. And I mean I've gone through different seasons where I've had to change like a changing country and a role and then many culture exactly everything.
And even people you hang around with as well, right?
And I think a lot of your personality is what you choose to do. I don't think it's just like that's just who I am. It's what you choose to do. I intentionally chose not to be stressed and not to worry about so many things, which we'll talk about soon. And I intentionally chose not to just be so stringent and not so like down to the book. You have to do this, you have to, because I used to be very much like that, like really intensely because I was the leader. But yeah, like realize no, like I need to have more grace with people, and that's something God's changed in me as well. So yeah, I think just because your personality might be something, I wouldn't say that that is you to the core, in the sense that I can't change and this is just who I am. Accept me for who I am, you know? People can definitely change and definitely be more open and humble to things.
I think so too. I think especially with God in your life and Him changing and refining your character to be more Christ-like. Exactly. Also, that's the goal. Like I would say for myself, for example, I mentioned it before, where I was actually introverted beforehand. So I'm like on that line, I'm actually only like a few percent extroverted. So I'm like kind of in the middle.
You're in the middle, okay.
Yeah, but I think it's like based on experiences and like growing up and labels that people put upon you. Maybe it's like trauma, maybe it's experiences that you had in like school, especially school, because that's like the key years where identity is really shaped. So if it's like, you know, you went through bullying or you went through insecurities, which I'm sure we all would have, to what level, it's like really dependent on, you know, each person, the group of friends that you had, and even the family upbringing, I'd say also like ties into it. It's like, okay, were your parents always there, or were your parents not really there? So it's like kind of like then you're trying to find your way in that sense. So I would say that I used to be very insecure, like super, even Bible college days I'm looking back at
no way, because when I knew I thought that you were really insecure, like I would have never said that you were like an insecure person, like ever.
I feel like I was on the journey of being secure. I still am on that journey.
I guess that's why we were in Bible college.
Right. We needed it, you know, I needed to be there. How I knew is because I still had thoughts of like comparison, inferiority. I think for yourself, for myself towards you.
That's me?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Like I don't even know why I thought that way, but I think when God identified that it's, you know, from my own upbringing of like not being good enough, because, you know, when I was in primary school, my friends ran away from me during snack and lunch. It was so sad. And so I think like low-key I was always geared towards more like male friends because of like less drama, that kind of thing. But then like I felt like I lacked that women friendship community that I could have had.
Have me now.
I have you now.
Have us now.
Yes, but I'm sorry, you know. Yeah, but beforehand I didn't. So it was just like this whole tension. So actually in Bible college, like first and second year, God like really started to do like deep work with that. So I think one was because I felt that you had a crazy God story.
I do.
So
I
which
do.
you do. And I think when we are able to celebrate each other, that's when we're like, okay, we glorify God for that, but like don't bring in comparison.
Yes.
Because then it's like that's when you start to tear down instead of build up. Because then I'm there like, oh my gosh, like who am I to be your friend, or like, you know, and it really brought this filter on how I presented myself, and I was never fully myself. Hence then you can't even connect with me fully because I'm not even giving you myself, my full self for you to connect. Imagine I'm putting up this wall and you're trying to like connect with me, and it's just hitting against this wall, and I'm here on the other side of the wall saying like, I just want to connect with you. So I think that, you know, that's what comparison does, and insecurity does, but God is a restorer, and He is a redeemer, and He can transform all that.
That's true. I think that's really interesting to know that I think as women that many times we're characterized as certain things, and I think one of them is like, I mean, this is for us to be introspective and think about ourselves, like, am I a woman of comparison? Right. I think that's a big thing in women, girls, right? Am I a woman of comparison? I think another one is, am I a woman of worry? I don't know, do you feel like you're a worrier?
I think I definitely was a warrior, and then God gave me a revelation that it's like from warrior to warrior. Like a prayer warrior. So it's like if you can't change anything about it, you just gotta pray about it and just watch God like shift things. Because like in Daniel, you know how when Daniel was praying, and then the angel was like there saying like, oh, we heard your prayer and we were like going to like accomplish this mission, but then like, you know, Satan's like, angels were there, like they were like having a battle in the spiritual realm. So actually, like, why worry about it, which is so flesh? Like, turn that around to like a prayer warrior and just like, you know, commit it all to the Lord. cast your cares on the Lord because He cares for you. You know what I mean? Every anxiety, just cast it onto Him.
That's honestly really speaking to me. That is so powerful. I just can't get over that first phrase that you said, like,
from
warrior to warrior. At first I was like, it's like a cringe Christian saying. Then I was like, wait, that's actually really like, whoa. Yeah. It's true because, like, instead of worrying, like, you're warring and, like being a warrior, like a prayer warrior and going against it. I saw this quote and it was like, pray about it as much as you think about it.
Yes, I love that. I've seen that somewhere before as well. Yeah. That is so cute.
Pray about it before you... No, sorry. Pray about it as much as you think about it. Yeah. So true. Yeah. Yeah. I would say in my nature, I'm not, like, a worrier, like, as first response. Yeah. Yeah. But I realized, like, in the past few months, when just a lot of things been happening, I have been kind of, like, sipping into worry. Yeah. Yeah, and you're so right. It's just like I have to just remind myself, like, to be a prayer warrior instead and fight in the spirit with it rather than worrying about it.
I think worrying also goes hand in hand with like overthinking. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever experienced like, the challenges of overthinking. Yeah. But I definitely would say for myself, I have like so many things of the what ifs and what if that and the what not, like and all that. Yeah. I remember watching this sermon from Christine Kane and I love her.
So
she's very fire. She was like, she really just changed perspective. It's like, okay, there is a what if with everything because we don't know what's going to happen. Only God, right? So it's like, what if positive or what if negative? And then I think she mentioned, like, sometimes when we go through life, it's like, oh, what if this doesn't happen? And what if this doesn't happen? And it doesn't happen in the way that I want to, or, I'm not able to get that job, or I'm not able to get that into that uni course, and then what's going to happen then? And she turned it around and said, like, well, what is your response? Because you can only control your own response. So instead of what if, it's like even if.
Even if.
So even if you don't get that job, God's still good.
Wow.
And even if you don't, get into that uni course, for example, and like, your life and your plans may all be shattered because it's like, oh, I had all this sorted out. But it's like, even if it doesn't, my response is to keep praising the Lord, knowing that He is good, knowing that, He's still got me. It's not like all of a sudden, like, God's gone as well. But no, it's just the plans are gone, but God is still there and He's still good. So it's like this, it's all about the mind, right? It's like all about just these thoughts. Like, Romans 12, 2, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
You're just preaching so well. I am just like, whoa.
No, it is what I had to go through, and I'm still going through. Yeah. All in your mind. Like, do you know Dr. Caroline Leaf? I love her. Yeah. I love her stuff so much. Like, she spent 20 years researching the mind. Like, she's a neurologist. So she spent 20 years just researching the mind and just coming out with all these different things about like thought patterns. And she's got so many resources about it. I have bought her books, but like it's sometimes you just buy books but it's still there. It's like, okay, I'm gonna read it one day. But about the things that she has written, it's all in the mind. And that's why when God says be transformed by the renewing of your mind, because as you're just journeying through life, traumas happen or experiences happen, you build some sort of a perspective and a filtering system. And it's like, okay, I got hurt by girls once before, for example, like a group of friends. It's like, I don't want to get hurt again, so I'm going to not trust women, for example. So this becomes your default mindset. Default. Wow. Default meaning like you don't have to think to get there. It just is there. But then to renew your mind, that's when transformation happens. So you need to like do these step-by-step process to be like, no, I can trust women because God has created women and God's got me. So I just need to slowly like open up again. So it's like you're just doing a new mindset to become a new default.
Wow.
I'm just like,
I cannot like respond to anything but just wow, I'm still processing that. I'm gonna be sleeping like just before sleeping tonight. I'll be thinking about what Regina was saying.
It's insane. Wow. I remember the first time I got that revelation and it just hit me so hard that I was like, oh, and then it just kept like God kept like doing a deep work. So then what Dr. Caroline Leaf was saying was that every time there is something that happens, there is 3 seconds for you to actually choose to do something.
Choosing is an important thing. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, no, like you have to just like choose. Yeah. It's before it gets into your default action. So you have 3 seconds. Like 3 seconds is not even long to choose whether you're going to respond in a default kind of mentality or like not. So for example, if someone like, you know, hurts you, like, you know, talks behind your back, you find out about it. And there's like 3 seconds where it's like, okay, am I going to get offended, or I'm going to choose to like go to the Lord and just like allow him to deal with that right in that moment before it starts to fester and become like, I can't believe she said that. Like, why did she say that? Which is so insane. I think we can definitely talk about another episode just on renewing your mind. Cause that.
Well, you know what? Like, we need to be women that like with renewed minds.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, this is what I find very interesting, because I know like the argument for a lot of people is just like, this is how I am, this is just the way I am, is that they say like, I was just born this way, right? Like, since young I've always been like this. Yeah. But the thing is, like, the Bible says that we are all sinful. We were born sinful, right? That sin entered through one man, like Adam, and it lingers like through like the humanity, right? And so I think, yes, our default could be worry, yes, our default could be comparison, but like Christ gives us freedom to be a renewed woman, so we can choose to be a renewed woman, and with the strength of God, obviously, right? You can't do it by yourself. You can choose to be a renewed woman, a woman of wisdom, a woman of grace, a woman of like responding in love and grace, right? A woman of the Spirit, which is all the fruits of the Spirit, right? And it's like, we don't have to go to our default, even though that might be our default. And as we have seen, like, we have different personalities. But in each personality, there's flaws, right? And what our defaults are.
I think it's just about, like, you know, allowing God to come in to identify. Like, how identify. I think that's probably one of the keys to identify what it is first. And not to allow shame to come in. But it's just to have this grace where, like, you know, I have this. But it's not my forever. It's not my identity. You know what I mean? It's just something that I've attached onto my identity. So almost like, you know, like an image.
I've grown to do.
But then it's like, okay, God is wanting a new version. Like what he died for.
True.
To give us that freedom.
We're a new creation.
So
true. Yeah, actually going off like what you're talking about, how like you have to change your mindset from being a warrior. Like a woman of worry to like someone who's like, you know, you make that decision, right? I think something for me in this past, I've just been on a journey in the past 2 years of just like God reconstructing everything, right? I'm very different to how I used to be when I was in Melbourne, actually. But I think one of the things is like you were saying how you felt like you didn't trust women at one point because like your friends would abandon you and whatnot. I felt like kind of the other way, in a sense that I got to a point where I was like, oh, like, what could a guy teach me? I'm like, I'm not going to listen to you. Like, what could a man tell me that I don't already know? Kind of thing. Or, like, how could you add to my life? That, like, you know, because I was like, like, I am complete in myself, blah, blah, blah. Which is great on one hand, but it's like, when you're on the other hand of, like, not humility, then that's different. The Lord humbled me, and he's like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. That, like, no, that, like, you know, they could actually add to your life, and just because like, you know, men have like made you feel like less than and like I've healed you and I've brought you stronger out of that, that doesn't mean you exceed that place where it's like now I just completely don't listen to them, you know. It's the difference between being a strong woman of God and being someone who actively like bashes down people, whether they're men or women.
I think sometimes with that also, like, it does come from a sense of pride and false security.
Exactly.
It's like, you know, if you're secure, false security. That's like a huge topic. But like when you're secure, like, it doesn't matter who they are. It's like you still love them regardless. Because like you don't see, like everyone's like equal playing ground, right? But then a false sense of security is like when it's almost like you're building your foundation on sand. Like it feels good. And then all of a sudden the waves come, like a comment comes, or like an action from someone that brings in a sort of offense. And like a secure woman would be literally on a firm foundation. Right?
We're going to be repeating episode 1, but honestly,
it's truth. It's like firm foundation.
Christ needs to be our firm foundation. I was reading that verse again just before I came. I can't remember where it's from. I think Matthew 7 maybe. Don't remember. In the parables. In the Gospels. That's what I was meant to say.
But it is a parable as well.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but basically it says like, anyone who listens to my words and obeys it, that's what Jesus is saying, is like a man who builds his house on the rock.
Yeah.
And then the foolish man who doesn't heed his word is the one who builds his house on the
sand.
The sand.
Yeah. It's crazy, like foolish and wise.
Yeah.
So what wisdom in Proverbs says, wisdom is the beginning of. Sorry, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah.
But then it's like Proverbs. I love Proverbs. By the way. It's just like it really just corrects you and like realigns you. Essentially talking about just like how when you're wise, you are having God in the center and building, your foundations on what God is saying. Yeah. And then for those who are foolish, are just like, all right, well, I hear you, but I'm going to do my own thing. Yeah. Or like, oh, I don't really feel
I'm going to do what I feel in the moment.
Yeah. And it's like nothing really backing that. So it's like going back to the word and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, security and insecurity. So I'd say like a secure person, like despite whatever comes, they still have that same foundation. Like they're not shaken by it. But then those who have this false sense of security, not to shame anyone, it's just more an identifier that, okay, if I'm secure in a certain situation or context, because everyone, they're like complimenting me or validating me, I feel so great. But then if you're in the same situation but no one validates you, are you still
feeling great?
Yeah, are you still feeling great?
Even with Instagram likes, as stupid as it sounds.
Yeah.
We can't pretend like we don't actually feel it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, you know what I mean? I do feel like I'm quite a secure person, I'll just be honest, right? Because I've really been working on it over the years. Yeah. But, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, was my picture, like, not, like, cool enough? I thought it was a great picture. But I was like, whatever, I don't care about these people. I posted it for myself anyways. But it's true, like, that comes in as well. It's like, where does your validation come from? Yeah. Like, a false sense of security is... Like, there's so many things that it could be a false sense of security. Yeah. Actually, everything in our life.
Could be,
because the only thing that is unchanging is literally God. And literally. I was just talking to someone else about this today. Yesterday. Money. Yeah. We have money. Like, if you have money, you, for some reason, you just feel, like, safe and secure. That's actually a false sense of security. Yeah. It's a false sense of security. Like, you could store up all that money, but, like... I don't know, the bank could go bankrupt. Like, just something like could happen in one day and literally all insecurity is gone. Yeah.
And I think what's so great is that God wants to be that security because He doesn't want us to live a life that's like, here and there. Because then that's also what causes worry to come about as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, like, the fact that it's from worry to warrior is that you are standing on
warrior to warrior.
That's because you have the Lord.
Yeah.
You're fighting with Him, and you're in that war room, strategizing, interceding with Him. I think that's that difference. But I think one thing is really interesting that I remember God bringing up in my high school days, and this really shifted everything, especially from myself, that I feel like I had a critical mindset. Like, I would low-key just be judging people, and I didn't really realize. And this came about from just this defense mechanism that came about to cope with, in case of the bullying happened again. Yeah, so, oh my gosh, bullying. So I remember, like, it was bullying with, like, appearance or bullying from just being a good friend, because I was, like, trying to help out a friend that was kind of getting picked on in a sense, but then in the end, she also went with everyone else, and they all ran away from me. And so I think with that, it was kind of like, okay, doing something right will get me this. Doing something wrong will probably get me this, but worse. So I built up this, like, critical thinking where, like, okay, I'm going to low-key, like, judge and assess what kind of person and friendship you would be. And then that's when I would go in on it. So it'd always be this, like, barrier. Hence I said, like, you trying to, like, connect with me. You can't really grab anything to connect because I'm not even giving anything in return. But I'm there like, okay, what kind of person? Yeah. But I remember God bringing up this particular mindset where it's like, judge and you'll be judged. That, like, Bible verse. I can't remember where it is, like, the reference wise, but
in the gospel.
It is in the gospel. Jesus spoke about it. But essentially it's like, in the way that you judge, you will be judged back. Yeah. And essentially, like, how many times have you kind of, like, realized that the thoughts that you have on others or perceive on others, like, oh, maybe she's thinking about my hair in this way. Oh, maybe she's, like, looking at my, like, face because my, like, acne is just flaring up, for example. That person could not even be thinking anything related to that. But it's because you have this mindset of judging in that way, or this insecurity. Hence, you're portraying a judgment from them based on your own self.
That's so true.
So ultimately, the freedom is that you work on yourself and your mindset, and you'll realize that they aren't even thinking about you that way anyways, you know?
The thing is, like, what I've really been realizing is that you cannot control other people. They could be the most judgmental people, but honestly, like, who are you? Like, how am I going to respond? What type of woman am I? They might be a woman of many different troubles and problems, right? But who am I as a woman? Am I going to choose to be a woman of worry? Or am I going to choose to be a woman of wisdom? Am I going to be a woman of insecurity, or am I going to be a woman of confidence? Like, am I going to be a woman of, like, foolishness, or am I going to be a wise woman? And I think that's, like, for us to choose, like, in each moment, okay, I'm not going to go to my default of insecurity, but I'm going to be a confident woman this time, and I'm going to trust on what God says about me, which is a firm foundation that doesn't change.
That's right.
I'm going to actually be like, okay, no, God actually said that I am beautiful, that I am a valuable woman, so I'm just going to stick to that, even though right now I'm not really feeling that, but I'm going to choose to be this kind of woman instead of being my default. And I think it's easy, like we said before, with our personalities to be like, well, I'm just this kind of person. But no, like, we need to be renewed by our minds.
Not only minds. What came to mind is also our speech. Oh my goodness!
What
like a lot of times,
the verse has been coming up to me, like, what you say comes from, like, what's within. Out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks.
And essentially, it's in, like, you know, the other verse where it's like, from the tongue comes blessing or cursing. So are you blessing your life, or are you cursing it? You know, are you building up yourself? And it's not to say, oh, like, you know, you don't believe it, but you're saying it. But it's like you're saying it because it's what God says. It's not this, like, oh, you know, make it to you, like, fake it till you make it. It's not that.
It's not that.
It's essentially you're actually speaking out.
You're believing it when you speak it out. And
you're speaking to the atmosphere.
That's
and then
true.
Like, what you're surrounding yourself with, like, these kind of words. So I feel like on top of the renewing of your mind, God's also given us the challenge of, you know, speaking out, like, making sure what we speak out is also life-giving. You know, it's like, you know, how many times, I think I read this, I watched a sermon where it said, if someone is coming at you with, like, 5 negative things, you speak to yourself double the amount of positive.
I need that, bro.
Oh my gosh. Because it's like you gotta combat it with, like, more of something that you want.
Exactly. True. You're right.
So that one was so wow, where it's like, okay, even if someone were to keep bashing you in terms of your identity or who you are, not confident enough at work, at school, in your family, maybe, whatnot, it's like, okay, if they're saying that about you, but you know it's not truth, you speak the truth until that becomes all you hear, and then everything else is like, not as
until it becomes all you hear.
So which is so powerful. I think when God just gives us, like, tools and, like, revelation to, like, really walk out this, you know, like, walk out our salvation and, like, into this sanctification kind of like journey, it really helps us to, like, shift these small things to, like, get us there, like, you know, mindset, heart check, speech. And ultimately, all of that is beauty. Like, all of that is reflected in image. Because it's like, you know, you could look so pretty, but then the things that come out of your mouth is, like, tearing down, negative. You know, it's like, it doesn't really build a great atmosphere to even be around, right? And if it's mindset as well, because, you know, it's like, there's, like, a Bible verse about, like, the mind and what you speak. We'll, like, put it on the screen. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Say what it's about.
I think it's like what you think is what you speak. So because it's like it's in there, you would just let it out. Like, it just flows out, right? And then, you know, sometimes people say, like, oh, like, they say something and, like, oh, I'm just joking. Like, are you really? Because it wouldn't be there. Because it wouldn't be there if it wasn't actually what you were thinking or, like, what you're, like,
conceiving. That's so
it
true.
says all that.
Yeah.
All the mind, all the heart, all the speech, and all that is beautiful inside out.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I love that. But I think that's about it for episode 2. Is there anything else?
I just want to keep talking and talking, and I'm holding myself back right now. Yeah, like, oh, that was honestly so good. Like, I just feel like you really ministered to me. Just everything you said. I'm going to be on the train ride home just thinking about everything that you said. Like, it's so true. Like, to be a woman is, you know, like to come from a place where it's like, okay, this is who I am, and I'm going to choose to be a woman of strength and all these things. I just can't. I'm going to keep talking forever. Yeah.
No, that's about it for episode 2. We'll wrap it up here, so that, you know, it doesn't go over more than like probably an hour plus, so you guys can get on with your day. But we just want to encourage you guys to to subscribe to Big Sister.
Yes, follow us on Instagram as well. Yes, comment something funny on the reels. Yeah. I will reply you.
She definitely will. And then, also comment ideas if you guys want us to discuss any topics or even any key takeaways that you guys have received from this podcast or the last podcast. It would really encourage us, and I think also encourage us to even think about what else to even share. Yeah. Of course, we have planned and we know what we want to share.
We have so many. Regina this week, she wrote like a whole entire list, and I was like, wow, that's so good.
No, it's like it's all life. So there's things that's like relationship,
I know,
friendship, you know, just like if you've ever gone through like bullying and whatnot, and it's just like, how do you create friendship and like learn to trust again, you know, especially after you've gone through all that. So I think there's so many topics that we have that we just wanted to film all of it, but we will so subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And we'll see you guys in our next one. Bye.
See ya.